Hello everybody, Nora back again, and I have the second video challenge for the Femme Fatale Riverton event. This week's challenge is make a video recommending some of your favorite books featuring strong female characters or that center around women oriented issues. Following the challenge, of course, the very first book I have is She Called Me Woman. It's edited by Azina Mohammed Chitra Nagarajan and Rafit Aliyu. Now, unlike the rest of the books on this list, this is the only book that is non-fictional. It's an accounting of real life experiences of queer Nigerian women. Each of these women gave interviews. Each of these women are telling their stories in their own voices. This is a book that journals like queer Nigerian women, their fears, their dreams, their loves, their hopes, their aspirations. It's their flaws, because quite a lot of these women are so flawed, but that also makes them so real, and it's very striking. I love it. And it's always going to be one of my favorite because it's the first book of its kind in Nigeria. Usually queer women's stories are not told, so to have this out here printed in print, and I have a copy, just it makes me so happy. And each of these women are strong in their own way, which is awesome. Second book on my list would be The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. And if you just thought, oh, you've heard me say that several times, yes, you're right. That was the last book that I read for Witchathon, that I started for Witchathon, but I never got to finish. And I finished it because it made too much sense. Because you see, the women were at the core and center of the story. They were the villains, they were the heroes, they were the ones who went mad, they were the ones who saw things that others couldn't see, they were the ones who went where others would not go. They were the ones that brought despair, they were the ones that brought hope, they were the ones that brought magic, they were the ones that brought sorrow, they were the ones that brought joy. Women were core and central to this story, and without them, The Girl Who Drank the Moon will lose all of its magic. And it's one of my favorite stories because of all the themes and the many messages it had to tell about, finding your family, about not giving into hate, about how letting yourself heal is what actually helps you move forward, about how love is its own power. This story, Girl Who Drank the Moon, is all about women. The third book on my list is yet another all-time favorite. It is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Popular consensus is that a lot of people hate this book. Not hate it, but they're more ambivalent towards it. It's never anybody's favorite. Like, they prepare popular biscuits, they prefer the thing around your neck, they prefer what's Civil War story? Sorry, I keep blanking it out because I'm still traumatized about the ending. Yes, Half of a Yellow Sun. But Americana is my favorite of every single thing Chimamanda has written so far. And that is because this beautiful, gorgeous book, saved me. It's a story of immigration, a story of survival, a story of surviving and rising through sexual assault, the returnee experience, about lost loves. And the reason why I love it, even though I love it for so many of all the themes I've listed, is also because it's a story that centers Ifemelu, one of the most brilliant, outspoken, abrasive women in literature. And as much as I know a lot of people cannot stand her, I love Ifemelu. She's so close and dear to my heart for what she went through, for what she survived, for who she became. That woman was strong in her own way, and I love her for it. And I love this book because of her. And I am more than delighted that Lupita Nyong'o is going to be playing Ifemelu in I think it's HBO that is doing it. Yes, the HBO adaptation of the book into series. So the next book on my list is this pretty gem over here. It is Akweke Emezi's Fresh Water. The reason why I love this book, other than the fact that it delves into mysticism, it tells the story of Ogbanje. It's all about finding your roots and finding your way back home. It's all about accepting and being one with all your many selves. The one reason why I really love this book is because of the female characters. But my beloved and my favorite of it all, of them all, has to be Ashugara. Birthed from assault, she is divine. Like Ashugara is that bit of feminine power, of womanhood that society teaches us to suppress. She's not subservient. Ashugara is sensual, she's abrasive, she's vindictive, she's angry, she knows what she wants. She's strong, so strong that sometimes she almost always swallows the other. But at the same time, she's also protective. She can be nurturing. She's destructive. She's slightly sadistic. Like I said, she's the epitome of womanhood that terrifies society, that terrifies the patriarchy. And she revels in it. And I love the story as it is without her, but with Ashugara in it, she just elevates it beyond my wildest dreams. So yes, Freshwater is yet another amazing book. I would always recommend it. I tried to read it as many times as I could. If you like lyrical stories, the play on words, the way it settles, the way words settle on your tongue. There are certain books I read that I enjoy, and then there are certain books I read and every word is a meal. Every page is an opportunity to savor the perfection that was the brilliant mind that conceived it, and this book is it for me. The next on my list, favorite books, is Six of Crows Duology by Lee Bardugo. Yes, Six of Crows is not here. I loaned it out to a friend, so I only have Crooked Kingdom. And is there any reason? Is there any reason why we're even talking about why this book makes the list? The intrigue, the characters, the plot, the fast paced plot, the well thought of, the world building, the well thought of characters, the payoffs, this high stakes in this book is perfection. It's like the ultimate heist novel, and I love it because of that, but I love it more because of Inej and Nina, because like I said, they can adopt me. Inej and Nina spent books giving us different shades of strength and showing us that strength can come in different forms. It can be in a killing, swift blow. It can be in the soft, comforting murmurs of a friend trying to help you get through a rough patch, trying to heal you up because you've been injured. It can be in having the strength to crush a person's heart, or having the strength to battle and fight an addiction that would have leveled a lesser person. Like Inej and Nina are my queens, and they made both books, so much better. I know Kaz Brecker owns my heart, but Inej and Nina, they own my soul. The next book for me would be The Woman Next Door by Yewande Omotosho. Now, I remember the first time I got this book, I had a friend, this book is pretty polarizing, just like Freshwater. There are some people that love it and there are some people that hate it. I belong solidly in the camp of people that love it. Why? Because it's not every time you get a novel that is told from the perspective of two women in their 80s. I am ashamed to say it, but before I read Woman Next Door, I sat down and I thought to myself, like, okay, when was the last time I read a book that featured protagonists who were women in their 80s? And I couldn't remember. Like, okay, sure, I've read stories with women in their 50s, women in their 60s, but 80s for me was old. And here you had these two women who were showing us that, you know what, life continues after 80. They are living full, robust, vibrant lives. Hortensia and Marion made this story, and that's the thing, like, it was all about them. This is a story that features the lives and loves and hurts and family and friendship and hatred of two old women who were well-rounded, complete women whose stories would hook you from the very beginning to the end, that when you finish it, you sigh and you wonder where's the rest of it, and then you realize that all they did was bring us just a tiny little glimpse into their lives. And they're like, here, we're inviting you, come see our lives for a couple of months, and after that, bye, we're going back to live it. You can go back and live your life. Like, legitimately, this book speaks to me. I probably sound crazy right now, but I love this book. I love this book for its women, because I'm trying to remember, like, 80% of the 90% of the characters in this book were women. Women. And 5% of the 10% of men were dead. So yes, we only saw them in flashbacks or when the women were talking about them. And this story will so pass the Kinsey scale, because you had women who were talking about other things that did not involve men. And it was brilliant. It was fucking fantastic. This book is fucking fantastic. I love it. It would, yet one more book that I would try my best to read as much as possible, but I love it. I love it. I really, really love it. And then of course, I do not have a physical copy of the Harry Potter books. I know, shocker, but I do have plans. I intend to get the collection soon. So yes, the next book on my list, of course, is Harry Potter. I don't think I know a lot of people love Harry Potter, and this probably sounds cliche, but Harry Potter defined my childhood. I first I read it when it first came out. In fact, the funniest about it was that I watched the first movie, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, before I read the book. I was just turning 11. It came out not, I don't know if it came out not too long ago, but the hype was just building, and then I got the books and I started reading them, and I loved them. The very first set of books I ever read that I loved where was in Blyton's Magic Faraway Tree. I read the Magic Faraway Tree. No, I read The Enchanted Wood, Magic Faraway Tree, and The Folks of the Magic Faraway Tree. I read those books, so I read almost everything Enid Blyton wrote at that point in time. Mallory Tars, Twins at St. Hans, The Naughtiest Girl in School, both are famous by their Secret Seven, a fantastic, Our Adventurers Four, Children of Willow Tree Farm. So yes, Enid was a staple all through my childhood, and she filled my days with magic and wonder. So it only made sense that when J.K. Rowling came with Harry Potter, and I found yet another magical world I could lose myself in it, I did, and I threw myself in it. And of course, sure, it's a story told primarily from the perspective of Harry. It was mostly Harry's adventures, but it would always be my favorite because one of my favorite female characters of all time, Hermione, is in it, and I love it. I love it. I'm not about to tell you, all the things I love about Harry Potter. I'm certain you know. We've all said that if it's. I don't want to belabor the point at this point, but yes, yes, Harry Potter would always be a favorite for me. I would probably be crying when I do finally get the box set, and I can just weep, and I will lose myself in it all over again, because I believe you're never too old to reread Harry Potter. In fact, you probably should reread Harry Potter like a lot. The last book I would like to talk about for this readathon is actually a comic book by one of my favorite authors of all time, and it's a comic book. And if you guessed it, clap for yourself, because yes, dum 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 dum, it's Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and not just Sandman, but the spin-off. And by the spin-off, I mean Death, the High Cost of Living, and Death, the Time of Your Life. And of course, like I said, Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite authors ever, period. And this comic reached into my heart, grabbed hold of my soul, and has never let go ever since. It's zany, it's crazy, it's outrageous, it's mystical, it's fantastical, it's almost psychedelic, it's outrageous, it's funny, sometimes horrifying, celebratory, depressing. It's mythology and contemporary with some fantastical elements to it. Like, you could just see it like he wrote the comic like it was a child in a candy store, and he just let his imagination run wild, and I love it. I love it. I do not have a physical copy of that either. I have it an e-copy, but I will get a physical copy. Sandman, and by extension, death, the high cost of living, and death, the time of your life. And of course, the reason why I love the story, Morpheus is one of my favorite characters. Don't get me wrong, but Death of the Endless, she is queen. Her strength is not necessarily physical, even though a touch can and will end the universe as we know it. But it's in every other thing. She loves her family, she knows how to appreciate life, she can be nurturing, but at the same time, she can get easily annoyed. But just as quickly as she's annoyed, she forgives. She's a fascinating character. She's a fascinating character, and I love her. I love her. She elevates the story. She elevates the entire story, the entire series. I have an ankh tattooed at the back of my leg. Okay, fine. For you to understand how much I loved Sandman, I have each of the sigils of all the endless beings tattooed at the back of my calf. So yes, I have that ankh. I have Morpheus slash Dreams' mask. I have Delirium's fishes. I have Despair's snakes. I have Destiny's book. I have Desire's heart. I have Destruction sword. So yes, I have them all interwoven in one large piece at the back of my calf. I love this book. I love these characters. I love this world. And yes, those are some of my favorite books that feature female characters I love. Like I said, I love this book. I would recommend any of these books to anybody. And if you do get the chance to see them and try them and read them, let me know what you think. And that would be it for this week. I hope I will see you again soon. Bye.